Hi folks, okay, let's do this. We have the palette which I've put onto Perspex. We've got CAD yellow medium, we've got CAD orange medium, we've got CAD red medium, we've got, what is that colour? Burnt umber, we have magenta, we've got phthalo blue, and we've got Prussian blue, okay? What I'm going to do is a New York scene. This one's I'm painting for a friend, and it's going to be just a really cool light, basically. This is a wooden panel. It's very smooth, the texture, which makes it slightly tricky. The paint slips a little bit, but I'll give it my best. I've primed this with gesso primer, and then it's got a colour, obviously you can see it, yellowy, orangey colour, and just make sure it's all locked on so you can see that clearly. Hopefully, I'm going to paint this in fast drying oils. We have the horizon around here, just stepping back, making sure the vanishing point. So if we have a street, if I quickly draw this out, then you'll see exactly what we're going to be painting. Row of cars here, we'll put one car. This is a painting of contrast, so it's going to be, the emphasis is going to be on the contrast and the light. I'm going to have a show in New York next year, and I'm focusing all of my paintings on light. And so I was in New York 2 weeks ago, or a week or so ago actually, and what really became very clear to me was the light on the buildings from the sun, but as a reflection, or where the light is being bounced from one building because it's glass to the other. And I thought that was quite interesting. So I'm starting to sketch out these little paintings, and that's what I'm thinking about making my exhibition about. So I'm just quickly drawing out. Vanishing point is here. I'm just using a very thin wash of fast drying oils. So one building here. That's the face of the building. And then it's got this very interesting dome. So this is on the east side of Manhattan, and it's 2 blocks in from the river there, Ocean River, and it's a place where the sun rises. You've got these really interesting rows of buildings, and it's a perfect place to. There's another building here right in the distance. That's on the other side of the river. Like so. So obviously, the closer to the gap between where the sun rises, it allows these streets to be lit up. You get some great light and shadows. So what we'll have is a signal box here. So this painting's all about this signal box and the light of the sun behind this signal box. So this is, I'm just drawing that out now, and there'll be a gap where the light is, and the illusion, or the tricky bit, is to make the light look like it's coming out from in between this signal box. That's my goal. And to be honest, all of this painting is kind of immaterial other than this important light source. So I'm going to kind of crank down the contrast, so the darker I make all of this, if you put light here, it will stand out more. So it's kind of, I'm going to over egg the contrast. So that's going to be where the light source is, in between the signal box. Okay, and everything else is going to be darkish in shadow. So I think I've drawn out these vehicles okay. And what I'm going to do now is literally get a bigger brush and put in some dark. So I'm mixing Prussian blue, burnt umber and red. And all I want to do is get a tone down. I'm using fast drying oil paints, Alkyd, Winsor & Newton Alkyd fast drying oil paints on a wooden panel. This image is inspired from my trip to New York, which was last week. And I spent 7 days painting. Painting and checking out this gallery where I'm going to be having, hopefully, a one-man show. It's an amazing gallery and it's very exciting. So just want to get this block contrast. And then we have a bridge there. And then the same this side. So the light source is going to be behind the signal box. I'm hoping to paint the majority of this in an hour. Okay, so sit back, get yourself a cup of tea, and hopefully enjoy the process. If you want to check out my paintings, it's paulkenton.com. I'm also published with Castle Fine Arts, and they're in about 38 galleries in the UK, and soon to be in other galleries around the world. Right, so let's get rid of that. I've just came over a little bit too much. That's the beauty of oils, is it's easy to work with. Especially this fast drying oils, it's kind of the fact that you can come back to a painting the day after and it's pretty dry. It's cool. I've actually been using acrylics quite a lot recently, and there is I think they call it retarder, where you it takes a bit longer to dry, and that's pretty cool too. So just putting some more red onto the palette. nice and dark. So the darker I make the edges, the more your eye will be drawn to the light, okay? And so I make my edges really quite dark. So I'm mixing Prussian blue, magenta and red, and that will give me quite a dark tone. There we go. Some strong shadows either side. Okay, now let's have a look at, I've just come over a little bit too far with that. Easy to remove the paint. Just standing back, I'm just analysing my drawing and my composition. Kind of works out really well. We've got the thirds, the rule of thirds. So you've got 2/3 of this area and then a third here. Bit of interest here. So I want the viewer to be drawn to kind of first this, but then the distant light on the water here. So I'll have that as flicks of light in here. This is oil paints. And then, so I'm just going to mix up the same paint that's on my brush. I'm just going to add some white and a bit of yellow to make a very neutral colour. And it will work a treat, hopefully, for the distant building. And let's have a look. Nice. I think that's pretty close to what I need. And then I'll put that into the water there. So this is all water here, and this is just a very neutral grey. So hopefully that will sit nicely back in the distance. I think already it's kind of coming together, which is great. I'm going to add the paint to the face of this building, which is a little bit in the light. So it's going to be lighter, reflecting the light of the sun. This is a sunrise. And I think it was about 6 a.m. in the morning. No, 6:30. And I walked on the east part of Manhattan. I don't know what that means. Something's going on. Maybe I'll turn that down a bit. Thank you, whatever that was. I've got TikTok going on as well as Instagram at the moment, so I've got two phones running at the same time, which I think is a good idea for the social media. So I'm just putting in a little bit more information on these buildings. I'm not going to go too fussy. I am going to spend a bit of time on these vehicles because there's some lovely light on top of these cars and on here, and I really want to capture that light. But I certainly don't want to make it boring for you, so I will keep moving around the painting. And I'll keep waffling on. So yeah, check out my website, paulkenton.com, and published with Castle Fine Art. Some exciting stuff coming up. Right. I think I'm at a good stage to put in the sky. Actually, I'll just put a little bit more information on this side of this building, which is actually lit up by the sunrise. You can see how smooth the texture of the wooden board is. The paint is slipping over the top nicely, which is cool. So obviously the faces of buildings which are facing the sun are going to be lit up. All right. So and tonally, I've kept this very dark. So when I put the light on, the light source, it's going to be it's going to stand out more than it would. So it's kind of things to think about. There's the vanishing point. And I'm going to put in the sky colour. So I'm going to mix a bit of yellow, white, and I'm going to keep the tone quite dark still, because, like I said before, the darker I make this kind of the sky, it's just going to be easy when you put the highlights on. They stand out a lot more. I'm just mixing up a kind of a warm tone. Let's see how this looks. It's okay, it's quite dark. You can see how dark that is. But I'm putting that down for a reason. And if I work into that building and create a soft edge because I'm mixing it with that paint, it's going to look further away. So as a tip, if I use smaller marks in the distance, it has the illusion of distance, okay? So larger marks in the foreground and small marks in the distance, it just helps create that illusion. Just mixing more paint. Let's warm it up a little bit. And if I'm just blending the paint into that paint that I've already put down, using the board as a palette, and it creates that softness, which is really nice. See this? I'm going to work up into that edge. And because I'm moving that paint around, it creates a soft mark. Same this side. If I wanted a hard edge, I wouldn't be dragging my brush into that existing paint. But to create the illusion of distance, it helps. Okay. Add a bit more warmth. And my plan is to get lighter towards the light source. So the closer I get to this area here, the lighter. So I'm adding white as I go along. Soft edge creates distance. Okay, so more paint required on the palette. You can see I'm just blending using the brush. And also because there's paint on this brush from all over the painting, because I've only used one brush so far, it's harmonising the colours as well. It's not, there's elements within the colours that I'm putting down which are all over this painting. Just another little trick. Rather than cleaning your brush every brush stroke, keep the paint on your brush. Sometimes you do need to clean your brush, but on a painting like this, I want little bits of different colours within the sky. Okay, and now I'm going to add more yellow. And because I'm heading towards the light source, I have got another brush, which is totally against what I've just said, but I just want to get lighter where this signal is, because the sun is rising behind it, and I want to create that illusion of light here. Okay, so we're going a lot lighter. If I put a big old blob of white paint here, that will hopefully create that illusion that I'm talking about. You never know until you actually do it, but it's kind of worked. And then I can just work around that now. I'm happy with that effect. Just wanted a bit of more warmth. just added a little bit of yellow there. And we'll carry on up. I'm not too worried about making these shapes perfect at this moment in time. I'm just using the board as a palette, really, just mixing, so you can see the light coming from this area. And then haven't drawn this very well, so let's just improve my drawing. I will be putting a red glow next to the light source, and I'll do that in a little while, and that will really help that illusion of light. But I love this tone. It's working a treat. It's lovely, and just got to be careful now because I've got fresh paint. That's the light source there, where the sun is. And then just finish this bit off here. I can come back and improve my drawing skills a bit later on. That just needs a bit more work, but you got the idea. And I'll just do that glow that I'm talking about, because I think that's going to be quite interesting to see. Again, working into that building there. See, that's enough. It's a suggestion that there's a, it's going somewhere, but I don't need to put the post in or anything. It's enough suggestion of there being something there. Cool. So, if I put a yellow tint here, on both sides, it's tricky to do it this way. Like so. And then clean my brush, and then I'll get some red. This is just another trick to create that illusion of light. So you go with the white, then you go with the yellow, and then you go with the red. Like so. It just helps that illusion of light, and I would blend that in there. It's quite tricky because paint's so wet. Same this side. What I'll do, just to be certain I've got that going right, just going to get another brush. Like so, and then just flick the paint. And then blend that edge. It just helps that illusion of light. I'll probably come back to that actually. It's not exactly spot on, that's better. That's better. Obviously I'm spending quite a bit of time on this little bit here. I think it's important to get this looking right. There we have it, that's that bit there, that looks good. Super happy with that. Okay, so I'll carry on. There's quite a lot of light on the water here, and I'm just gonna create a surface using warm tones as if it's a reflection from the sky. Love this. I wonder if I can get this out of the way. There we go. You can see it better now. But I'm just blending that painting there. And then what I'm going to do is get some white paint. I'm just going to white and a bit of yellow, just drag that over the surface. Spot on, looks great. your eye to be drawn to. So I've kind of put in the lightest elements of this painting, other than the top of the vehicles. What I want to do now is put this tone down on the road, so I can do that. And we'll get through this painting quickly now. This was the tricky bit, putting these elements in here, and I think the illusion is right. Obviously, I need to repaint the shapes and what have you, but it's pretty close. So this is a similar tone to the sky. I'll go darker in the foreground. Again, that helps create the illusion of distance. Some strong shadows from the light source on these cars. Thanks for the kind comments, folks. Much appreciated. I'm just lightening up that area there. It will help the distance. So I'm painting in oils on a wooden board. I'm using Alkyd fast drying oils. And I was in New York last week, and so this was on the east side of Manhattan, looking in between the buildings as the sun rose. It was about 6:30, 7 o'clock. Had a fantastic week. I visited the gallery where I'll be having a show, and so as soon as I know exactly the dates of the exhibition, I'll let you know. Slightly darker in the foreground on the road. The reason for doing that is just to create the illusion of distance. So we have darker tones on the foreground, lighter tones in the background. If you add blue to the distant buildings, then they look further away. There's lots of I'm self-taught as an artist, and over the years you sort of learn by your mistakes and pick up these little things which really help. yeah, so I popped into MoMA as well actually, and that was a treat. There's one painting by Jackson Pollock, which I really like. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of information on these cars. Just gone a bit grayer. I'm not using black, I'm using a mixture of Prussian blue, red, burnt umber. It's quite a dark tone. I'm just putting the shapes of the vehicles in. I'm not going to be too worried about perfect details. You can see the cars come into shape now. I'm just standing back, having a look. As far as a shadow colour, if you add magenta and a dark blue, that kind of works really well for a shadow colour. This is what I'm going to add now, so I'm adding a bit of red, a bit of magenta, a bit of blue. Works really well as a shadow. There's a row of cars here, they're in shadow. You can kind of trick lots of detail by just putting a passive dark colour there, and then I'll kind of scrape in a suggestion of where the light is. You can either do it that way, or I could get my cloth and use the under painting colour as the highlight. So just scribbling in a little bit of detail. And because we've got that underground, it's got creating a bit of warmth. Well, and then we'll put mustn't forget that, bit of light there. and then I can use a smaller brush with just to create some highlights on these vehicles. So you can see how it's coming together now. And there's, I don't know what you call it, the underground steam duct. I'm going to put in a bit of movement here. And then just move that paint around. And then we have on the other side the similar thing going on. I'm going to leave, there's elements along here which I love, and I'm going to leave which, and that's just a bit of steam coming up. And right, okay, so I can continue with the buildings. This face of the building is in light. Don't know what these brushes are, they're fantastic. Winsor & Newton. They keep a really nice flat edge. Way too light. Need to darken that up again. Cool, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what that looks like, and then I'm going to call it a day for today. I'll show you what it looks like from the front view, and then what I'll do is I'll come back to that tomorrow and carry on. But it's in such a good place, and it's getting really dark in the studio, and I want to keep a really close eye to the colouring, so it's important to use natural daylight in the studio here. So I'm going to stop there, and there's probably another few hours work on there really, so I'm not going to be able to get it all done like I hoped, but it's in a really good place, and I appreciate you watching, and I'll show you exactly what it looks like when it's all finished. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye.